Hi guys. Garima, where is your partner?
Yeah, she'll be joining us shortly.
Perfect.
I'll
Hello.
I'll I'll talk to her. Yeah.
No problem. Okay, guys, I'll be back in a minute and we'll start as soon as possible. Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello. Is the opposition team here yet?
Yeah.
Okay, just to all I know, people are coming in ऐसा धीरे-धीरे. Just lock the room.
Okay, let's see. Karina and okay, Garima's here. Karina's not. Garima, is your internet connection any better? Will you be able to turn on your camera at all?
Yeah, I don't think it's better. I'm doing it on mobile data, so I can't. I'm not sure about that. It will create a problem.
Even my face is not clear.
All right. Okay, let's follow the protocol. Same protocol as before. If you can turn on your cameras and your voice is not breaking up, then please do. But if you can't, it's perfectly fine. Also, I would like it if everyone watched the debates, debate on the live stream, the link of which I'll be putting on announcements, so everyone will get it. Rudrak, just quickly send me the link, so I'll send it across.
It is there in the group, no? Just see, no, Aman. अभी just भेजा था TEDx पे. Garima, we're only waiting for Karina. When Karina comes, we start. Could you just text her to please join the server? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll ask her. Just a second.
Hi everyone. I have posted the link of the finals on announcements on social media, so you can. I think everyone must have gotten notification. So all the spectators can watch the debate on the live stream. And to prevent bandwidth issues, I'm going to be closing out this channel and disconnecting everyone who is not a debater. So everyone just come on the YouTube live stream and we'll pick up any questions you have from the chat. Cool.
Feel free to comment speaker OP. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. That.
So,
Who will be edge panel?
Our edge
I'll
panel
introduce.
today.
होगा. Aman, wait, होगा. When we live stream, no, तभी चालू होगा, तभी properly introduction के साथ everything will happen. Okay, guys, don't worry.
Yeah, everything will happen.
Very smart, Rudra. You didn't mention this before, but okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the finals are live. The link is already on it. So yeah, anyone who is watching it here can just move over to this, and I'll be disconnecting all the spectators. So yeah. Cool.
Okay. Should
so
we start?
Yeah, sure. We can start.
Everyone's out, right? And the debate room.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Great. Okay. Great. Let's take a. Can everyone please go on mute before I start? Nilakshi, please go on mute. I am server muting Nilakshi. I'll unmute her when.
Buddy, no. Just start now.
Okay. So great. Everyone's on mute. Okay. Great work, guys. Welcome to the finals of TEDx Somaya Debatable in association with Somaya Debating Society. We are very, very proud to have conducted this first event through our society in association with TEDx. Before we go ahead, I need to congratulate all the participants who made it to the finals, the proposition team and the opposition team. Out of 500 applicants, 130 registered participants, the 4 of you have made it to the finals. Super duper proud of you all, guys. Well done. Before we go ahead, let us just have a quick introduction of both the proposition side and the opposition side. So one by one, the proposition side. First, can you please unmute your mic and introduce yourself? Thank you.
Good evening,
Please.
guys. I'm Nilakshi and I'm from the proposition team.
Thank you, Nilakshi. Who is your partner, Nilakshi, for today?
Parth Shah.
Great. Parth, could you just say a hi so that we know your mic is working?
Hey guys, this is Parth Shah. I'm going to be the second speaker from Side Proposition. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Parth and Nilakshi. Now the opposition side. Could you please one by one unmute your mics and introduce yourselves? Thank you.
Right. Hi, everybody. This is Karina, and I'm one of the speakers from the opposition.
Thank you, Karina. Karina, who's your partner today?
My partner is Garima.
Great. Garima, could you please unmute your mic and introduce yourself so that we know your mic is working? Garima? Hello, Garima? Aman, can you just check if... Yeah, I think she's here.
Hello?
Hi, Garima. Could you please test your mic once and say hi and introduce yourself?
Hello?
Aman? She can't hear us, I guess.
Garima, can you hear us? You're muted right now.
Just move her to another room and get her back.
No. She'll figure it out. Garima, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can
now
hear
we
you,
can.
Garima.
Okay, great. I'm Garima and I'm speaking against the motion.
Thank you, Garima.
Yeah.
With this, we finished the participant introductions. We will now move on to the ADJ introductions, the adjudicators for the day. So in the adjudication panel, we'll start from the youngest. We have Arjun Panchmatia. Arjun Panchmatia has been an ADJ with the Somaya DevSoc for the last 2.5 years now. He's broken at multiple tournaments, including IIT Bombay and GLC. He's been a participant at various intervarsity debate competitions. The second panelist for the day, the second adjudicator for the day is Shamita Naidu. Shamita Naidu has also been a part of our DevSoc for the past 4 years now. She has taken part in multiple debate competitions and been a finalist in the Pune DevSoc and the Pune debate competition circuit. I would now like to introduce our next adjudicator. The next adjudicator for the day is Dharmish Bhatt. Dharmish Bhatt has been a part of our debate society also for the last 4 years. He is currently studying at Monash University in Australia and is a really, really important member of their DevSoc. Thank you for being here today, guys. With this, we will now move on. With this, we will now move on to the topic.
Howard, before we do that, let's just give a little moment to let the adjudicators introduce themselves once.
Perfect, sure. Guys,
Starting
please
with
unmute
Dharmish.
yourself. Yes.
Hey guys, first of all, thank you so much, Hanu's great introduction. So I've been debating since a while, and I'm really proud to see Somaya DevSoc happening after like so many years of and countless efforts by so many people. There were so many people involved. I mean, it's a great scenario that is happening in front of us, and we're really happy. The competition has been great so far. We've been adjudicating quite a few rounds, and yeah, I just hope that this sort of spirit of debating stays on forever. A lot of people have been involved, and I'm super happy that this DepSoc finally will see will definitely crack and break in many tournaments. Something about myself, I think Anu's covered it pretty much. Like I've broken in a few tournaments. I've broken in IIT, a little bit of Oxford debates here and there, and I have also been involved in MUNs. So I'm happy to be on the panel today, and hope we have a great debate. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Shamita.
Shamita, can you please introduce yourself? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Give me a second. Okay. So hi guys, I'm Shamita and I hope you guys can like hear me well. So to just give you like a gist about myself, and thanks Anuj for your introduction of me. So I have been a part of a debating circuit of KG Sumaya for the last 4 years. And I'm so excited for it to turn out. So like when we like I remember when me and like a few of us started debating within Somaya, there was just like these few 2 3 people that I knew who were like into debating, and like right now I see 4 years later it has become like this culture within Somaya, and we have launched Somaya Debating Society, all thanks to everybody who worked for it. So this like makes me extremely proud that we started off debating with like these few people and we have turned it into this like superb culture, and I hope to see like more debating culture and more people into debating. A few things about me, as Hanu was pointed out, I have won a few Oxford debates and broken into a few BPDs, and I've been debating since the last 4 years. On the professional front, I've been working. So I graduated last year. I've been working full time since the last 1 year as a software developer. So yeah, like this tournament has been great till now, and I'm so excited to see the finals. So yeah, best of luck to both the teams, and here's to great debating. I would like maybe the next Edge
Uh,
could.
so thank you,
that
Shamita.
leaves Arjun.
Yes. Arjun, could you please introduce yourself to
Hello.
everyone?
Hi guys, can you see me? Can you see me? Okay,
Yes,
the lighting is a bit of
Yes.
a problem here, but like cool. Hi guys, I'm Arjun. I'm like the youngest of these guys, but like just ignore that for a second. I just talk about a bit about myself. I have been part of the debate society for the better part of 3 years now. I think since late 2017 we've been a part of that. Um, I really do want to express my gratitude, especially to Shamita, Dharmesh, and Leander, for being like the main catalyst who actually dragged us freshies back in late 2017 during the Shield tournament. If you guys are in KJSCE, you're going to be participating in that. Aman was the participant with me there, and since then we just started. And the amount of support and help we got, especially from seniors who are not currently here, they've been busy with working, etc., is immeasurable. And we cannot believe that after so much hard work, that we've actually managed to establish a society. This tournament itself has been incredible. Some of the nicest speeches, some of the most eloquent speakers that I've heard in like debating have surprisingly just come out of this tournament. I'm incredibly happy with the amount of passion that's been displayed for debating, and it still, to me, was someone who, when we couldn't just get 3 participants, when we were just like 3 participants sitting in the A building of a building, the A building of KJ Sumaya, and we used to just discuss motions, to having 150 plus applicants just for this tournament is incredible. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to us. Just a small thing about me. I think Hanos covered everything. I have been an adjudicator at IIT Bombay, GLC. I have been an invited adjudicator at multiple Oxford debates now. I also adjudicate the Big Somaya debate, not Big Somaya debate, the Shield debate. I have been a finalist at Big Somaya debate. I have been, and there's multiple semis, quarters in multiple Oxfords, and a few British parliamentary there. I'm incredibly privileged to be a part of the court today, and I really hope that this is the finals that we can remember for ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun. With this, we end our Edge introductions. We will now start and begin the debate for the day. Before we proceed ahead, I will quickly run through the format of the debate if all the participants agree to it. So basically, at the start, we will have a 5 minute speaker round. I'm sorry, could people please go on mute? Okay, thank you. Basically, we'll have a 5 minute speaker round in the first session, where the first speaker from the proposition side comes and makes a speech for 5 minutes. Then the first speaker from the opposition side comes and makes a speech for 5 minutes. Then the second speaker from the proposition side comes and makes a speech for 5 minutes. And the second speaker from the opposition side comes and makes a speech for 5 minutes. After the speaker rounds end, we will move on to the rebuttal round. The rebuttal round will last for 10 minutes or a minimum of 2 questions per team, whichever is more. After that, in the rebuttal round, we would request the participants, please do not engage in any form of cross-talking, do not cross-question, wait for the person to finish talking before you unmute yourself and answer the question. Please wait for the participant to finish answering before you ask the next question, and ensure we have a civil conversation at the end of the day. Thank you. Once the rebuttal round ends, we will then move on to the conclusion speeches. The conclusion speeches will be basically one participant coming from each side to come and present the concluding statements from their side of the debate. The conclusion round will last for 3 minutes, and once the conclusion round ends, the debate is over. With this, we can now safely move on to the topic of the day for this debate. The topic is a little long, so please bear with me. First, I will give you a context slide. For information, a context slide is basically material about the topic that helps us understand the topic better. So in the context slide, what you have is that China's social credit database, according to the BBC, means that by 2020, everyone in China will be enrolled in a vast national database that compiles fiscal and government information, including minor traffic violations, and distills it into a single number ranking each citizen. This number can then be used by the state to determine job prospects, visa decisions, and other such formalities. Therefore, the topic for the day is this House, as a Western liberal democracy, would implement China's social credit system. I am the presiding officer for the day. Amanbir is the timekeeper. From now on, I will hand the mic to Amanbir, and Amarbir will ensure the smooth flow of the debate. Please tell your timing preferences participants when you come on stage to Aman, and Aman will tap accordingly. With this, I would now like to invite the first speaker from the proposition side to come and make their arguments for the case. Amanbir, you can take over now. Thank you.
Hi, you have 5 minutes to make your speech. Tell me when you want the first step and when you will begin.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll start.
Sure. I'll do the first step at 4 minutes then.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
The side proposition completely believes and trusts the social credit system. The system consists of a numerical or a numerized system, ranking number, departmental ranking, and so on. Specifically said in the motion that only government and fiscal information will be complied, helping with the criminal records, academic education, economic condition, financial condition, visa decisions. We do not consider the social media in compilation as a part of the database. It will make it easier for us to reward the citizens based on their credit scores. The government will be essentially monitoring everything. The society will be merit based. There will be no discrimination against women because it will be their merit number and not anything else. Also, discrimination in terms of caste, creed, color, or apply. If people introduce manipulation at work environment or at any other institutions, then it would be easily tracked by the government. To elaborate the points that I have just mentioned, I'd like to explain a little further. The Social Credit System Initiative calls for the establishments of unified record system for individuals, businesses, and the government to be tracked and evaluated for trustworthiness. China's social credit system is an ambitious initiative to build a database that monitors individuals, corporates, and government behavior according the country in real time. According to the Chinese government, the system will use a big data to build a high trust society where individuals and organizations will follow the law. Also, the social credit system believes in achieving the objectives such as raising awareness and level of credibility within the society, regulate efficiently the economy without compromising the governmental control, improve and perfect the socialist market economy, make stronger and societal governance program, bring innovations in the financial sector with digital governance, control and the direct the behavior of individuals and businesses. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the end of your speech?
No.
Okay,
My
continue.
network went. Okay. Also, another to talk about the benefits of the social credit system, I'd like to mention it help in terms of credit history. Because unlike Europe or USA, the usage of credit cards in China is modest and also very recent. As a result, people did not have a credit history, at least not very detailed or structured. The credit system is expected to create a detailed and reliable credit history of the people of China. The social order. China's population is not modest by any standard. Establishing and maintaining consistent social order that is productive for the economy is something that this system wishes to achieve. Tighter control. With the kind of punishment for this system, offenders would not many would take the chances. This helps China build a tighter political control. Problem solving. The huge and diverse Chinese population needs to manage and make decisions. The system will provide critical economic inputs and data for the planned growth of China's communist. Government holds that the government holds very close to their heart. Administrative efficiency. The system will build a digitalization and informationalization. Naturally, it will improve the administrative efficiency. Real-time data collection. It is plain as daylight that the system will provide unmatched real-time data that can be efficient for problem solving. This liberal democracy will also support integrated ecosystem, the various data and tools that the government will employ. It will help in controlling the corruption and also have a track record of the corrupt public officials. Indeed, China's social credit system supporting the liberal democracy will result in alarming outcomes if it does not learn from the missteps, which it would. For example, a number of students attending schools and university will be helped and will be recognized based on their parents' good credit scores. The public will be recognized and will be rewarded and will be given opportunities. It will help in creating government. It will help the government in creating employment opportunities based because they would have the track of their entire history and their um, credit score. So the side proposition believes that the liberal democracy that supports this system will not only help us in creating a good record system based on the population of the country and also help in categorization, but it will also help us achieve few social measures. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You spoke for exactly 5 minutes. With this, I'd like to invite the first speaker of the opposition to then make their case.
Hello?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, great. I can start?
Sure. You want your first stab at 4 minutes?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, please begin.
Yeah, okay. I'm Garima, and here is my partner Karina, and we are presenting against the motion. For many that live outside of China, the social credit system feels more like one of the creepy nosedive episode of the British science fiction Black Mirror. Let's talk about Liu Hu, who is a journalist in China writing about censorship and government corruption. Because of his work, Liu has been arrested and fined and blacklisted. Liu found he was named on a list of dishonest persons subject to enforcement by the Supreme People's Court as not qualified to buy a plane ticket, banned from traveling some train lines and buying property or taking out a loan. There was no file, no police warrant, no official advance notification. They just cut him off from everything he was once entitled to. What's really scary is there's nothing he could do about it. He could report to no one. He was stuck in the middle of nowhere. A system placed by the government is fair or unfair. Unfair is decided by the fact that there isn't anyone facing unfair repercussions of the decisions. We have many examples in China where the social credit system has limited the rights of people for playing loud music at night. This system is nothing but limiting the rights of the people. The argument can be that this is an attempt to make the decisions more transparent, but this system, already adopted in China, has had issues which made the population fear the government, not just in an individual level, but also from the perspective of business. So, a system like this could be argued to be more autocratic than democratic with increased transparency. These are the following points that people will be penalized on. And it's so petty that it's going to remove any kind of trust that can happen between the state and its subjects. As of November 2019, in addition to dishonest and fraudulent financial behavior, other behavior that some cities have officially listed as negative factors of credit ratings includes playing loud music or eating in rapid transits, violating traffic rules such as jaywalking and red light violations, making reservations at restaurants or hotels but not showing up, failing to correctly sort personal waste, fraudulently using other people's public transportation IDs, etc. On the other hand, behavior listed as positive factors of credit ratings include donating blood, donating to charity, volunteering for community services, and so on. In general, it takes 2 to 5 years to be removed from the blacklist, but early removal is also possible if the blacklisted person has done enough remedies. Certain personal information of the blacklisted people is deliberately made accessible to the society and is displayed online as well as at various public venues such as movie theaters and on buses. While some cities have also banned children of untrustworthy residents from attending private schools and even universities, infringing the legal rights of citizens and organizations, especially the right to reputation, the right to privacy, as well as personal dignity, and that the system may be a tool for comprehensive government surveillance and for suppression of dissent from the Communist Party of China. Often, the data on which many of these decision making systems are trained or checked are often not completed, balanced, or selected appropriately. And that can be a major source, although certainly not the only source of algorithmic bias. Importantly, when you think of data, you might think of formal studies in which demographics and representation are carefully considered, limitations are weighed, and then the results are peer reviewed. That's not necessarily the case with the AI-based systems that might be used to make a decision about you. Let's take one source of data everyone has access to, the internet. One study found that by teaching an artificial intelligence to crawl through the internet, just reading what humans have written, the system would produce prejudices against Black people and women. A system placed by the government is fair or unfair is decided by the fact that there isn't anyone facing unfair repercussions of the decisions. Why a Western liberal democracy would implement China's social credit system, which is most unliberal and undemocratic. Just imagine how it will work. It will create a culture of fear and a nation of informants. We have many examples in China where the social credit system has limited the rights of people for playing loud music at night. This system is nothing but limiting the rights of people. A low credit score will exclude you from well paid jobs, make it impossible for you to get a house or a car or even book a hotel room. There are reports that those social credit score falls too low and preemptively arrested and sent to re-education camps. The argument can be that this is an attempt to make decisions more transparent, but this system, already adopted in China, has had issues which has made the population fear the government. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah. You spoke for 5 minutes and 15 seconds exactly.
Okay.
Now I would like to call upon the second speaker of the proposition to further their case. You're here.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right, just give me a couple seconds to start.
Yes. And please let me know at what point do you want your first tap.
Could you just give me a tap at 5 minutes and that's it?
That's it? Only at 5?
Yeah, 5:15 as well, of course.
All right, okay. Perfect.
All right. I'll start in 3, 2, 1. All right. So I must congratulate the opposition side to have, given a perfect rendition of a reading from google.com. I really appreciate that. And thank you for playing right into my hands. Okay. So first of all, one of the major issues that come out with the opposition side is the characterization, right? They characterize everything as if this is a autocratic government, an authoritarian government like the China. We need to tell you that this is a liberal democracy. When there is a injustice done to a person can approach the judiciary, get the law, get justice from the judiciary, and also take out the government which has put up such unjust laws, even in the context of this debate when you talk about the data collection, right? Again, the second thing that I would like to bring out was our definition was entirely based on the context given in the slide about the social about the social credit system, and we never mentioned anything about the blacklist. And as far as the info slide and the motion is concerned, there is no recognition of blacklist. This google.com. Anyways, so the next thing that I would like to do is after just stress out my main points. Right now we talk about in liberal democracies such as America, Canada, and other democracies, right, there's a prevalent problem of two things. First is racism, racial discrimination based on skin of color, color skin, and there's the second is female discrimination, right, workplace ethics, etc. So we tell you, we emphasize you, and we give you an analysis as to why this is going to be eradicated, completely eradicated, right? When a person is going to be employed just on the basis of the ranking number and his departmental ranking numbers in that particular department's education, for example in job prospects or engineering, academic information, right? So in this case it becomes really impossible for somebody to escape accountability if they go on discriminating people on the basis of color or gender, right? Because you have to be accountable to the government, and secondly to your boss, for why you choose somebody who had a lower credit score just because they were white or because they were a male. So this is how we tackle discrimination, and therefore we're in this point of contention. Secondary, we tell you that this is a huge relief for financial systems in liberal democracies. First, why, right? Okay, so we tell you that because there will be a financial information about every citizen, right, it will be much more easier to recognize which person has a cape credit score of, say, a higher credit score and which is a lower credit score, and which person is trying to screw over the government or the banking system by taking a huge loan and not repaying back, or other stuff in financial systems, right? Because accurate financial information helps negate the scams that come out, right? The third that we want to talk about is this society is properly based on merit, right? So this is a very important point in our context. Why? Because merit, because the society is based on merit, and because we are only rewarding people who have a highest credit score. We did not talk about punishment being given to people with lower credit scores in our definition of the model. Therefore, people with higher credit score, right? When you are awarding people with higher credit score, it acts as an incentive for people to generally perform on a higher scale so that they can get these awards from the government side, right? Also, when the opposition talks about suppression of dissent by the government by changing laws, they talk about how there will be data problems collecting the big data. We wish to tell you that whenever these problems will exist in the demographic of liberal democracies, right, people do have the option to go to the Supreme Court, right? They have the option to get their justice done. It is not an authoritarian government like China who is here to suppress the government, to suppress the people. So like Chinese government is authoritarian and aristocratic in nature and in autocratic in nature. So when you talk about liberal democracies, right, the governments themselves have an incentive towards protection of people, right? They have a social contract theory where they are where they have to think about the people of the country, and they have to work towards the benefit of the people of the country because of the social contract theory, right? So whenever there exists flaws of decent or like misusage of data, people can approach a Supreme Court, people can get the justice done, or if they cannot, they can protest against the government, because that cannot be outlawed in the system. That cannot reward you negative points, because this is a democracy, right? Dissent is allowed in a democracy, right? So this or in the last case scenario, they can just oust the government in the next election. So we tell you that all the opposition's funds completely fail away when we talk about ourselves. And on the benefit side, we talk about how merit-based society will empower people to strive towards merit. So when a society is striving towards merit, when you reward people who are doing a great job in the society, then by definition of it, people will try to do it because they just want more awards, right? And we are also taking out the major problems of discrimination against racism and females, right? We talk about how the economic prospects will improve. We talk about how jobs, how jobs will be given out on the basis of such things. And because because of the ranking numbers and because of the departmental ranking numbers as well, people will find it much more easier to evaluate different applications based on their ranking numbers, and this will in itself give a proper view of what the government is trying to do and how helping all the sections of society, not just the rich and privileged, but also the bottommost section of society coming along with it. Thank you. Very, very proud to propose.
Thank you, sir. You spoke for 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Now I would like to invite the second speaker of the opposition to come further their case. You're here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, you may begin. Please let me know at what point should I do the first tap.
So I have to speak for 5 minutes. I think 4 would be good, and then multiple taps.
All right, perfect.
Right, just give me 10 seconds.
All right.
Right. So I'd like to begin by I'm to be honest, I'm quite astonished by the points that were brought out by the opponent and how they my opponents and how they try to frame it by talking about how we were just focused on China. I'd like to mention we mentioned China in terms of the social credit system, which is in the topic. China's social credit system will be adopted by us. Not to forget, let me also bring in that the motion also mentioned a liberal government that will implement this the social credit system. Liberal government means there is limited interference from the government in the affairs of its subjects, right? So I'll ponder on it while I go in the course of my rebuttal and the debate. However, I'd like to focus first on the biggest point that my opponents seem to throw at us, which was there will not be any kind of discrimination that is going to be there in terms of whatever, as you mentioned, racism and any other kind of discrimination on the basis of class, creed, or whatever it is. They are forgetting the basic point that this entire system, which is based on just an algorithm, this algorithm is made by humans. They inherently contain human bias. Thus, the decision of what is good or bad behavior has serious implications. Just as racial profiling often surfaces in crime prediction algorithms, I'd be worried about discrimination in the social credit system. While some blacklists and credit scores may be published, we have no way of knowing how these are combined with consumer and personality attributes to result in an individual rating. Without transparency, these are concerns that the government could misuse this program for its own purposes, which they have absolutely not addressed. Algorithms are extremely, I'm just harping on this point and also going on the fact that algorithms are highly reductive, yet they have the power to change people's life. For example, there's a difference between one person who misses a payment while in hospital and another who is simply a freeloader. So further, such social norms privilege the elite rather than those in need. This algorithm is not going to take into consideration the circumstances or anything of that sort. Then I'd like to go on to my opponents mentioning the ranking system, which makes people more accountable. I'd rather like to point out it's not accountability, but it's fear. The system judges behavior patterns of the subjects, right? Then he goes on to mention how it awards people on the basis of merit of being more fearful, right? And merit of what? What kind of merit are you talking about? Traffic violation. And if you do not violate the traffic, you're going to be more meritorious. So the basic problem in the system, it not only judges us on the basis of our financial needs or something of that sort, it judges us on our morality, and that is highly subjective. What is moral for me might not be moral for the other person. And now let me come to the point where the first speaker mentioned it's going to perfect the economy at the cost of what? Subjects not even having enough faith in the government. The labeling acts of deviance often results in stigma, decreased life chances, and a higher rate of repeated offending. Stigma requires an audience, and what better way to shame someone than defaming them through a nationwide reputation system? This may harm an individual's chances of rehabilitation after an offense or mistake. And again, I'd like to point out some aspects of this entire system and its pilot initiatives may violate basic human rights. For example, users with a high score can then skip the long lineups at a healthcare center. This policy gives priority access based on a judgment that is not even medical. Further, the system adjusts your scores based on who your friend and associations are. A friend whose bad actions lower their credit score may drag yours down as well, punishing innocent people. Let me just mention that because we were talking about merit and how my opponent said why our speech was Googled. I want to bring in all these points. And now coming to the fact where the speaker mentioned tighter, this entire system will have a tighter political control, which is in fact highly detrimental to the subjects and the citizens and will lead to carceral administration. And I'd like to mention carceral. Judging trustworthiness of the citizens will instill fear in the public and will remove their trust from the government. That will in turn put in jeopardy reporting cases in good faith because they are always going to be in fear of being caught. Not to mention government, my opponent also mentioned that government has a system to appeal, right? There is always a system to appeal. They can go to the Supreme Court, as he mentioned in India, right? Appeal. We're talking about a system and we have no idea whether it's even fair, how transparent the system is. There's a Latin phrase which means quis custodian ipsos custodes. Mind my pronunciation. Who will guard the guards themselves, or who will watch the watchers? What kind of appeal are you talking about when there is no transparency in the system? There is misuse of data. You do not know where the data is taken from. There can be false information, and then that will of course lead to abuse of power. Now in all this scenario, my opponents really had to bring out a point that said that they can later go on to appeal because we're not talking about a Chinese government taking on this credit system. Yes, we're not talking about, we're talking about a liberal government taking it ahead. And this entire system, it doesn't talk about transparency at all. And I like to rest my case by this point along with the other points that I stated above. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You spoke for 5 minutes and 8 seconds. This brings us to the end of our opening remarks. Now we will move to a 10-minute long rebuttal round. Everyone, please note that the rebuttal round is going to be an organized one where the opposition will start with a question which the proposition will answer. There will be no crosstalk or replying in this exchange. So opposition asks, proposition answers, and proposition asks a question, the opposition answers. This will continue until 10 minutes are over, and a minimum of 2 questions will be asked in this round, regardless of time. All right, so with this, I would like to start the clock and invite the opposition to start with their first question.
Right. So I'd like to ask, throw in the first question from our side, which is, as the motion states, which I'd like to remind my opponents as well, the House as a liberal country is adopting this particular practice, right? We've had many cases of distrust and fear among the people due to the over interference of the government, which this system clearly portrays. People have been wrongfully penalized for playing loud music. How do you justify that? And please do not tell me that that these people who are playing loud music are outliers, because the job of the government is equal treatment to all. So it is affecting some. It means the system is flawed, right? So I'd like to know how it is even justified, considering it's a liberal country.
All right. Can I answer?
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you make an excellent point. Why you should penalize somebody who is playing loud music. Now, like if you would pay attention to it, right? There are certain places in every democracy or in any country, say whatsoever, where places outside hospital, places outside super courts of law, or places which are sensitive to noises, right? So when you're playing an instrument above the noise level which has been prescribed by the constitution of that particular country, and therefore violates the principles of that country, so I don't think why it is logical from your side of the government to not penalize that person, because in essence that person is committing a civil offense and for which he should be penalized, and that penalization is not 1 year of jail or anything. It is properly prescribed in the constitution. So yeah, I would like to say that when a person is penalized for playing loud music, it is with proper reason and not just because police wanted to oppress the people. Yeah.
All right, now the proposition can answer, then ask their question, and a reminder to everyone to keep your questions short.
All right. So, Nilaksha, are you going first or should I ask the question? Hello, Nilaksha, are you still there?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right. All right. So my question is, the second speaker of the opposition side talked extensively about morality and what might be moral for a person might not be moral for some other person. Right. I completely agree with this. My question is, how do you justify bringing morality into a case of data collection where everything is technicalized and there is proper backup information regarding any decision that has to be made? So there is no confusion about what is good or bad, because good or bad is not a matter purview of this information. So I asked the opposition side, could you justify the inclusion of morality into this debate, please?
Could you repeat your question, the first part of the question specifically?
Well, the question is, in a sense, is how do you justify the inclusion of morality into the purview of this debate? Actually, that's it.
So, I'd like to begin when it talks about the entire system is based on a ranking system, right? We've agreed to that, where citizens are going to be ranked on the basis of whatever crimes that they've done, or whatever certain behavior that they have taken ahead, right? Now that behavior can be as simple as playing video games for as long as 10 hours, and the system says that someone who plays video games for as long as 10 hours is considered to be an idle person, and they are therefore judging that person on this basis and completely removing him from giving him a good credit and rating him as bad. Now that person could also be a professional gamer for all we know. So my point in saying that it judges the person on their own moral behavior was, first of all, to point out the fact that it is the system is grading someone on such petty issues, on such petty things with no chance of rehabilitation. Second thing is, when I'm talking about morality, is that you I spoke about people reporting in good faith. Let's say I see an accident happening across me and I want to report it. I may not do it because this system instills extreme fear, vehement fear in the minds of the people, so they may not even come forward to do it, because this system, as you said, merit, I say it's fear. That is how the ranking are going to be, and this information that is taken by the government, there is no control over it. What if and there is so much abuse of power, which I also mentioned in my debate. It is highly possible that the person then morally foregoes uh, uh, his moral obligation to report a crime in good faith, even when he's not a part of it, because there is so much fear that he may be an accomplice to that crime. And that is going to happen when this system accords no transparency. There is misuse of power, there is abuse of power, and that is my entire point of saying how it judges people.
All
And
right, that's too long an answer. That I'll end it there. The opposition can now ask another question, and I would like Garima to ask this question and Nilakshi to answer instead.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So my question is, if a person is penalized in a normal manner for playing loud music, they usually pay a fine and are given a chance to not repeat. This system has no way of rehabilitation because it will rank people. So how do you justify that?
Well, okay, can I answer?
Yeah,
Hello.
please go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
You face the opponent very much emphasizes on morality and providing support and and suppressing by not providing any support to the civilians, while just imagine that there are these areas which are silent zones, so there's an hospital. So according to you, a person can have a loud party and should not have any restrictions posed no matter what time it is in the night, and it's the other people's problem if it is disturbing them, and penalizing them and giving them a gentle punishment. They're not being executed or murdered, it's just a gentle punishment to make them realize that they have to think about others. As you talk about moral and ethics, considering your neighbors also matters. While that is not considered, but you talk about morality when you're allowing people to play loud music and have party at the cost of somebody else's sleep and somebody else's peace. Well, that's not the idea of a liberal democracy. It's about being accountable and being responsible towards the society that you live in.
All right. Now the proposition can ask another question. Parth Nilakshi, you have the floor for any question you want to ask.
All right. So can I ask the question?
Go ahead.
All right. Yes. So I wanted to ask the opposition side. They talk about a system which has been made by humans, and therefore subjective biases of good and bad will be included in the data algorithm. The person who's making the data algorithm. This was explicitly said in the very first minute of the opposition's second speaker's speech. Now I want, and this was directly in comparative to my discrimination ending statements, right? So I would like to ask the opposition, how do you justify someone who is having a racial bias, and how do you like in a practical world, when you're making such a big system, allow a person to input a racial bias into the system, and own personal racial bias into the system? Please answer.
I'm not sure if I get your question. You first of all mentioned if algorithms uh, are not discriminating. I mean, can you just like in one sentence tell me what your question is? And then you suddenly brought about racial bias. And
How
what
do
do you
you
mean by
justify a person including his own racial or discriminatory biases into the algorithm that he is making, and then that algorithm being accepted by the government? Please justify this.
So, all right, I got your question now. That was an example of how something that can be included by the government in an algorithm and that can vehemently affect its subjects and the citizens. My entire point is, and that example by in itself was to point out the fact that algorithms are also made by humans and they can inherently contain human bias. An example of a human bias is racial profiling. Now, so you are asking me this as saying that how can a government accept something that is racial. Let me just tell you that there are a lot of people who still practice racism, and which is I mean, I'm not saying that we should do it or I'm not in favor of it, but I'm just saying that is often practiced. There are industries that are run on racial fears of people, billions of dollars of industry. So this bias, even if we may not promote it, this is always there in our minds. What if that comes in an algorithm? That was an example that I used. You are the kind of system that you're talking about is a government that is extremely fair, that will take into consideration everything and will be inclusive of everyone. What if the government is not? I mean, we are talking about a liberal government, and I would like to believe that it is not the case. But what if it is? And that was my entire point, and that was just an example to state. I do not mean to say that that will be included. Of course not. But my point here is that while some blacklist and credit scores may be published, we have no way of knowing how they're combined with consumer and personality attributes to an individual
All right.
rating, because there is no
That's the end of
transparency.
the answer. Spoken for too long now. All right. I think we have time for just one more question from the opposition.
I have my question is very simple, and I have still not got an answer from them regarding that. They're talking about if there is something that is going wrong in the society, a person can, a person is penalized. The same way they will include a system in it. I don't understand, when you can penalize, you give the person another chance to improve without scarring the person, without implementing permanent damage on the person by giving him a rank. And once you rate a person on the basis of a rank, that person's rating goes down. What is the point of such a system when you can genuinely penalize and then give them a chance, give them another chance to it? I mean, it does it not seem ambiguous to you or ludicrous to you for all it matters? I mean, I like to answer it.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So
Hello.
I do not get the exact bearings of the question, but I'd like to think that it was about penalizing and about why rating is necessary. I'd like to correlate these two by saying, you guys, we gave out a model in the very first speech, in the very first minute of our speeches. We gave out a model which was completely compliant with the information that given to us, and in that model, we did not talk about at all penalizing somebody for having a bad rating or a bad rating score. Now, talking about why ratings are important, right? So, when you give a ranking to someone, when you give somewhat rating or a ranking to someone, right, it becomes easier to compare that person with, say, another person, not on the basis of racial discrimination or any other sort of discrimination, but purely meritorious discrimination, which we humbly accept because that is something which improves society. So when you talk about penalize, when somebody's penalized, the ratings go down, right? Even if that were the case, even if I were to accept your prerogative, right, that going down of the ratings is not in so much extent that you are trying to talk about. Like, it could easily be reversed by doing even like a small good deed, and even if, and it's not like applicable to just one person, because if it's applicable to entire society, then I think the negative effects of even penalizing in your best case scenario, even those effects will die down, because it's applicable towards the entire society. I'm not accepting your prerogative, I'm just pointing out the loopholes in your argument. Thank you.
Can I support his answer by just one statement?
You can, but it won't be noted down by the adjudicators. So I
Okay.
honestly don't see a point. All right, with this we come to the end of our rebuttal round. Now we will have concluding remarks from both members from one member of each side. Concluding remarks will be 3 minutes in length. And just a note for the participants that any new points brought up in your concluding remarks won't really be noted down by the adjudicators. So just focus on concluding your side of the argument. With this, I would like to invite one member from the government side or the proposition side to conclude their case.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, you are.
I'll just take a few seconds to organize the structure, and then I'll give you this. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Be starting in 3, 2, 1. All right. So first, I'm going to talk about what we did, and then I'm going to rebut. First of all, we gave you a model in which we talked about what information consists of, which can be compiled to the government. what the government will be doing, that is just monitoring about this in the best way possible. Then we talked about, we are rewarding people. Then we talked about a merit-based society with information helping the government to help different sections of society in different ways. For example, helping out people who want jobs, helping out people who are financially disabled, etc. Now I'd come to rebuttals quickly, because I think that's the important place, right? So I think the opposition has gravely mischaracterized the debate in a way which, they have, tried to pull out authoritarian arguments in liberal democratic, right? Abuse of power is prevalent in status quo as well. I'd like to point this out to the panel, that abuse of power is prevalent in today's liberal democracies as well, right? It's not something which is entirely out of existence, and we can see that it exists, right? So what we aim to do, that we aim to reduce this abuse of power, because the people who will be monitored are government employees as well. And even if give some leeway that okay, government officials will have some sort of like, even the best case of their abuse of power, that government officials will have some leeway. I think the benefits that we pointed out about racial discrimination ending, feminist gender discrimination ending, people getting easier to get jobs, I think the benefits far more outweigh this small abuse of power, which is the best case scenario from the opposition side. And we need to tell them that even because this is an algorithm, and because this is not based on a certain person's morality, it will not necessarily discriminate between anybody at all. And we need to clear this out, because this is an algorithm which will be accepted by the judiciary and only then will be put into use. So when they talk about morality, right, I think morality goes into the bin when we talk about algorithm based on for liberal democracy, which fundamental basis of law and order will be about these things, about have a certain basis from the judiciary, right, a certain foundation. And also when they talk about people doing something like do a loud music and stuff like that, I think they fail to realize that, at the end of the day, everything is not going to be penalized as heavily as they think about it. And, it's just fundamentally wrong to say that somebody will be penalized just because of loud music so much that his entire life goes out of the life crisis. So this is a specific example that the opposition took, and we need to tell them that examples don't win them debates because they don't prove reasonings, right? We tell you that racial bias, they tell us that racial bias will always exist in our minds. We tell you that is something which exists in current status quo. It exists today in liberal democracies, but when the system takes place, right? So we gave you a mechanism through which people could be held accountable if they discriminate against somebody genderly or racially, but they never accounted for that, right? So when they talk, all their main points are, talking about authoritarian governments, abuse of power. Somebody will have to, in good faith, somebody will have fear about the fear of the government. I think there will be no fear because the government is a democratically elected government and there is a judiciary. That point has to be noted down. And otherwise, I think are benefits. Proud to rest my case. Very, very proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you. You spoke for 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Now I would like to invite a speaker from the opposition to come conclude their case.
Right. Just give me 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'd like to begin the closing arguments by pointing out the fact that my opponent in his argument said that they'll be coming up with a model. Sorry to say, but the credit system already exists in China, and that will be used by the liberal government. And that penalizes people for minor issues. Probably you should have Googled the system like we did. Coming to the fact where the opposition tried to talk about a system does how wrong behavior in how there will be ranking, there will be more accountability, and taking that into consideration, I like to point out that the system does not take into consideration rehabilitation. You do not want to take a possibility of giving another chance to a person. You want to rank him on that basis and scar him for his life. Now I'll tell you how that would happen. Wrong behavior in a normal society, because we were talking about penalization, deters a person from committing the crime by putting fine or putting them in a jail depending on whether the crime is civil or criminal. However, this system does not believe in that. This system means if you've done even a smallest crime like violating a traffic signal, you will be ranked, and that ranking will then in future affect your ability to stand in long queues, your ability to travel by faster or slower trains, your ability to travel abroad, visa cases, whatever it is, or even in getting a job. And job can be directly linked to a livelihood. Tell me if that is not harsh, and tell me if that is justified by any means when we're talking about a liberal government that talks about least interference. Then coming to the fact that this system behaves on behavioral preference. Like I mentioned, 10 hours of gaming will instill negative marking. What about professional gamers? And I like to also include the fact that this system harpers on the fact that a person, let's say, if that person I'm just giving you an example, pays on Alibaba or a certain specified company that you're allowed to use, the credit system rank will increase. It's called living how the government wants them to live, and that is not liberal at all, because you can't be asked, if you pay by this company you will be given more credits. If a behavioral preference is one of the algorithm standards applied to the whole nation, the citizens may live the way the government likes. The behavioral preferences raises the concerns of citizens. Interpersonal connections will be affected. The higher your friends credit, the higher your credit. This will polarize the people's social life. It infringes the legal rights of residents and organization, especially the right to reputation, the right to privacy, as well as the right to personal dignity. And that the system may be a tool for comprehensive government surveillance and for suppression of dissent from the government of whatever the government is ruling at that time, the liberal government. So possibly violating it has violated the principle of respecting and protecting human rights, especially the right to reputation, the right to privacy, as well as personal dignity, and oversteps the boundary of reasonable punishment. Now the system, I'd like to just give concluding points how the system is not acceptable at all, specifically when we take liberal government. The monitoring of people, the grading system should not be one-sided. The government has a right to grade the citizens, and the citizen should have the clear instruction to know how to grade the officers. If the government cannot make both the grading system fair and acceptable, it will be hard to push the system. Then misuse of information, abuse of power, instill fear in citizens, data fudging, information collected is false, does not take into account individual circumstances. We don't know the role of media in the system, as they never pointed out. Right, I'll just complete. Shaming of people and sell data to private companies. Yeah, I'll rest my case.
Thank you, ma'am. You spoke for 3 minutes and 20-ish seconds. With this, we come to the end of the debate. Now, I guess Hanos will take over the results part of things. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Avan. I would request the judges to please move to the TEDx meetings room so that you all can come to a decision in there. And Arjun, Shamita?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. I think the judges have left. Guys, I hope you had fun. With this, we come to the end of the TEDx debatable tournament until the results are released. I will now request the viewers who are watching us on YouTube live right now and also on Facebook Live or any other live channel to please put in your questions for the participants in the chats. We have Amanbir and Feni, and we also have Rudra who are sitting and watching the chat. They will be asking your questions directly to the participants. Please do so. We'd love some engagement from your side. Participants, until the judges come here, would you like to ask questions to each other about the debate or about how things went? Something you thought could have been different from each side or could have suggested to the other side and vice versa?
I think I have something from the side for side opposition. Any of you would like to answer? Like, why did you guys bring up the explicitly the right to privacy and how it invades privacy? I think that was a great point from side opposition. Like, I expected that to come up in the debate. Like, any reasoning from that side?
I'm sorry, did you say that the side proposition or opposition?
No, it's me, Parth. I'd like to ask you guys side opposition that why did you not think about the right to privacy in this debate? Because data is data and people are fanatics, especially in America, about their privacy and stuff.
I mean, at the end of the closing statement and a little bit in the opening statement, we did bring about right to reputation, right to privacy, and all these kind of things. I mean, the clash did not happen there as I would have liked to prefer, however, but it was a valid point and a strong point in all our arguments.
I think just providing an analysis is fundamental to proving a point. So I guess I don't know. It might be just me, but I didn't think like there was one of your debates was not majorly based on privacy.
I
It might
understand.
be
It was, yeah, I understand. It's just like the flow of the debate went in a certain direction, and then, but yeah, it was an argument at least.
cool enough. But yeah, great job, guys. Seriously, great job.
Great. Any
All
other
right. Any
questions?
other questions? We have nothing from the live stream right now.
We have a question from the live stream. Would you like me to tell you the question?
Go for it.
I want to ask the opposition that if we consider a Western liberal democracy, why will the authoritarian or autocratic situation still apply? Will a Western liberal democracy not protect the citizens? This is asked by Somrik.
All right. Can you repeat the first part of the question? There's some
Sure.
internet issues that is there.
Yeah. I want to ask the opposition that if we consider a Western liberal democracy, why will the authoritarian or autocratic situation still apply? Will a Western liberal democracy not protect the citizens?
It will. The argument is, first of all, when we're talking about a liberal government, we want to propose that the interference from the government side should be minimum. Right. In that case, how can you even think of including a system on the basis of reward and punishment, for that matter? Because your interference should be minimum. It's not about protecting the citizens. Our entire point, and the system also cares about the subjects and also wants to protect them. But the means they're using, is that fair? Specifically, when we talk about a liberal government, I think that is the point of question that was majorly there in the debate. I hope I've answered. I really hope that.
Hello.
Yes, we'll just wait for any other questions, and if you all want to discuss with each other.
Okay,
that
so
will also be.
Lakshi, can you hear us?
Hello.
You got disconnected.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay,
I
yeah.
got out.
No worries, that's fine. Okay, that was one question. Anything else?
पार्टनर के ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस को छोड़ दो, बट मेरे कॉन्फिडेंस के लिए हमें जिता दो प्लीज भगवान। हमें जिता।
Hi, Nilakshi. Your mic isn't on mute. Please mute yourself.
Oh
Thank
fuck, I'm
you.
so sorry.
Please do not. Please do not use foul
Accuracy.
language.
Such a bad day. Never mind.
Please do not use foul language. We are lying.
Anuj, we can't stop real emotion, can we? Okay, let's see. No other questions from the audience yet. Does Dan, Fanny, or Hanos have any other questions?
I have a question. So, people discussed the 1984 algorithm, right? In this debate context. I think one of you all brought it up, the 1984 algorithm. Do you know why it is called the 1984 algorithm? Any of the participants, why have we been using the word 1984 algorithm for this social credit database system? This is just a fun fact if you all are interested. If you don't know, then I will answer it. But if anyone knows, it'd be great if you could help us out.
Yeah, I'd like to answer.
Yeah, go for it. Definitely, Karan.
Yeah, it's because of George Orwell's novel 1984. It talks
Yes.
about the kind of system, social credit system, and dystopian system that we're talking about. The debate
Yes.
is about.
Exactly. So I just wanted the spectators to know what exactly or what is the origin of this 1984 algorithm, since we've actually discussed it in the debate context. And basically, as Garima said, 1984 is the novel which is written by George Orwell, which actually gives the basis of what the social credit database system is. And it is a very dystopian novel in its context. And it was a fun debate to know about how stuff that you have only seen in fiction become reality all around you at the same time. Around 50 years, I don't know how many years ago did George Orwell write this novel? How many years it was? It's just great to see this become a reality at the end of the day. So yeah, this is a nice
Hi
tidbit I
Hanos,
thought I want to share now. Yeah, Rudra,
we have two questions from the live chat.
please
Uh,
ask
both questions are for side proposition.
one by one.
First question, yes. First question is by Ankan Saha. He asks, propositions say that they will form a model. Model is failing in China and creating fear. If you make changes and adopt to the liberal government, it will still affect due to the source being the proprietor. Side proposition, do you have anything to say to this?
Can I answer that?
Yes, please go ahead.
Before tackling the question, I'll try to draw a parallel, right? So like you're just saying that just because something fails somewhere, that it should not be made changes and tried somewhere else. It's like, if that were the case with humanity, we would not have ended up having so many great inventions and stuff, right? If people would have just said, we can't really make airplanes, we tried to make it, we failed, so we can't do it right now. So as a parallel, I think it is a human concept to make changes and try and keep trying until the model succeeds. In the present scenario, tackling the question directly, right? So why it failed in China was basically, I think, because of two reasons. First is that China is a government which is focused on authoritarian regime, right? So what it does is, it collects people's data primarily because it does not want dissent in the public, right? So if it collects data and it has a system to, not have dissent in the public, then it would be great for the Chinese people, right? But you can't have the exact same thing in America, right? Because people are, given rights to actually come out and dissent. So that thing cannot work over there because, you cannot, in America, you cannot just, roll down or shoot down people like the Tiananmen Square did in China did in Tiananmen Square. You can't just shoot down people in America, right? You will be in great trouble, and it's just illegal and you can't do that. So dissent cannot be wiped out. That was the first reason. The second reason is that because America is a democracy, we have a constitution which is adhered to, and it's absolute. It's not subjective. It's not out for subjective criticism. It's an absolute constitution, and whatever the model will be built upon, right, it will have its roots and basis in this constitution. So when something has a basis in absolute constitutions and rights now, it is very difficult for anybody to get away with, even power abuse or say, oppressing innocents or not catering to the people. So anybody, you can, go to the Supreme Court and say, this is wrong, please correct it. Like we have in India, right? And also like in the US, like they have Supreme Courts to protect their rights. So people can feel safe about it and people can roam about and dissent the government, because in democracies it is the rule of the people, by the people, for the people.
But as a follow-up, the same person has two statements to make. He says, yes, because the sample size failed in one place. You want to try a failed vaccine of COVID in another set of population because failure would be equally disastrous. Then he again says, authoritarian government created an authoritarian model that you'll find really hard to change. Do you have anything to say about it?
Yeah. Firstly, when I talk about, examples don't prove it, I really, really mean it. Because, in any situation, you can go on Google and find an example. Name anything, you can go on Google and find an example. Therefore, I usually don't draw parallels in my arguments. But, the same argument about vaccination doesn't really apply over here, because I could just, change the parallel again and say, what about ships? Doesn't like just because 10 people drowned in a badly made ship, would you not, form a ship again? It's like parallels vary, and you can't really put things upon them. And about the second argument, right, about an authoritarian model being used in a liberal democracy by making some adjustments. I think it's a good point, because it was primarily made for authoritarian morals and regimes. But the changes that are made are fundamental, right? Because the changes are made, the model is not at all the original model that it was. So because of the changes made, you can say that the principal morality and the principal aim of the model has now changed. Because you're making fundamental changes into the direct concept of the model, then I think it goes on to say that because the changes, aims of the model will also differ, will change as per the situation. So like I think because the changes have been made, it's acceptable towards liberal democracy, because it is a very awesome model with actually good outcomes, you can say. In an idealistic world, you could say, not I don't know about the real world, but in an idealistic world, you could say that it has great application, because of ranking you can all the benefits that I listed down in the debate. So yeah, it has benefits, and therefore I think changes, if made, are good. Thank you, if that answers your question.
Parth, there's one more statement to what you have said. Just 1 second, please. I'm having some technical issues. Yes. Satyam Pandey says Western imperialists who are committing genocides in Middle East and Southern American countries to rob their resources, China doesn't need to spend a lot amount on military to practice diplomacy and friendship. Do you have any statement to say for this?
Yeah, I will. Okay, so this does not come into
And
the
please
purview of
note,
this
you also
debate.
have 2 more questions from the live chat, so just try and keep it
Okay, I'll try
precise.
to wrap. Yeah, I'll try to wrap. First of all, the answer to this is it's not in the purview of this debate, because it's not at all important to what we're talking about in this debate. Yes, America does that because it has a law of justification that it wants to preserve democracy, and B, China does it in other way. It has economic operation. It does on Myanmar, Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka. You would have known about the Sri Lankan port incident, right? China is right now militarizing the Sri Lankan port. So yeah, China also does it. Everybody has their own ways. We do not accept what America does to oppress people and take resources, but it's their paradigm. I do not accept that.
Okay. Next question for side proposition is by Mithil Shah. Question for proposition: won't this model encourage corruption, in brackets, not logging of a crime in database, in a capitalist system?
Nilakshi, do you want an
And
answer?
yeah, I would like I would like it if
Thanks.
Nilakshi answers instead. Yes.
Neelakshi is having some technical issues. She's just messaging me. She cannot unmute herself. So,
All right. I
give
guess
it a
then
few
Parth,
minutes.
go ahead and
Parth,
answer.
please answer me.
All right. So you're talking about the problems of corruption in the capitalist government by law or not by lobbying, but could you repeat the question? Like, was lobbying allowed or not? Like, could you repeat the question?
Not logging of crime in the database.
All right. So okay. So the way we maintain this is right. Okay, because there's an algorithm. Because of an algorithm, I think human biases are taken out of the equation, right? So you could say like in today's status quo that we have, chief ministers can, current on sitting chief ministers or presidents can have, a lot of influence in some situations in which even though they have committed crime. So when you have an algorithm which is completely not at all inclusive of any of the biases, then I think, especially this one, it focuses on your credit statement. It focuses on what you have bought, what you have sold. Then speaking in very basic terms, of course. So it focuses on all your financial history, right? So when you are, trying to, just give a bribe to someone, it's gonna come in, because this social credit system is not just based on the credit transactions. Oh wait, I have just lost electricity. Um, Am I still audible? Am I still audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yes, you are.
All
You
right.
can continue.
So yeah, I see that like this is not just this system is not based on just electronic transition transactions. So when you bribe someone, that amount is somewhere deducted, and added to somebody else, and because it is an algorithm, it can find that out, and therefore I think corruption, even if it will exist, I think it will in a realistic scenario somewhere, but it will be very minimalistic to be really easily pointed out. So I'm not saying that corruption will never exist in society. I'm just saying that this system will reduce corruption.
Okay.
Okay, so we have another question by Isha Ponda. It's for the proposition again. She asks, this system does not seem to consider the circumstances in which the event occurred. What are your comments on that?
I don't understand the question. Could you repeat that,
You
please?
okay? If you don't want to answer it, that's absolutely fine. But the question is, this system does not seem to consider the circumstances in which the event occurred. What are your comments on that?
No, it does consider, right? It does consider. We consider that the events which happened in the on the application of the credit system, social credit system in China were, very oppressive and very harmful towards society. We do consider that, but the we in this debate it's not about authoritarian. It's about a innovative idea about how you can take a system from somewhere, a failed system from somewhere, make some changes in it and reapply it somewhere else, in order to make some benefits, and then you have to debate whether it makes benefit or not. So we do accept that it makes horrible you know impacts in China. But when it is applied in liberal democracy, I think we listed out some benefits and think, those really do come into existence, at least from our point of view. Otherwise, yeah, that's it, I guess.
Okay, we don't have any more questions as of now, but as they keep coming, we'll ask you the questions.
Our viewers, you can add your questions to the comment box. We have a look out at that. Thank you.
The participants can still go ahead and ask questions if they want to ask the other teams, like, or each other.
I have a question from the OC. Can they open the Discord server for spectators, if it's possible?
Aman, we can do that now. It's okay. Or should we wait till the live is done? I think we'll wait till the live is done. We don't want to eat up the bandwidth.
Right,
So
right.
if there are any questions, they can ask it on the live channels or in the final participants group too. We will take it there also. We don't mind, and we'll read it out over here in the
Cool, cool.
We have a
debate.
new question. Satyam Pandey is asking, what about the lobbyist in USA who uses corruption by finding the loopholes in the constitution? If you like to answer.
Hold on. Is it for side proposition or opposition? Your voice was cracking.
So he's not mentioned who this is for. I'm assuming it's for Parth, if I'm not wrong. What about the lobbyist in USA who uses corruption by finding the loopholes in the constitution? You can choose to not answer it, but if anybody wants to go ahead, the prop or the op can go ahead and answer it. I'm assuming nobody wants to answer it. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I was just out. Was there a question?
Yes, it was a question. I'll repeat it again. What about the lobbyist in USA who uses corruption by finding the loopholes in the constitution?
It's quite ambiguous in nature. I mean, I'm not really sure I understand the question, to be very honest.
Okay. Then we can just go ahead to the next question if that's the case. Uh, Okay, so we don't have a question. It's a follow up by Isha Ponda to what she had asked the proposition. She says, I meant the events that the people get rated on. Example, getting late for a conference because of your car breaking down. They will get rated negatively or for something which they cannot control. So, what do you have to say about that, the proposition?
All right, so I have a very conclusive answer for that, right? So when the information slide was given to us, they explicitly talked about a couple of things. First, government information. Second, financial information, and they included, traffic violations and other things which could be, tangible things, could be which have a record, like your academic education or your credit card statement or your address, you could say, or some other tangible things, right? So when you're talking about if you get late for a conference or if you overspeed when you don't know, like these are things which are not necessarily counted out in our model. That's, I'm just saying from the point of view for our side, right?
Hi, Aman. Hi, Aman. Hello, we're back.
Hello. Hi. So
Okay, okay.
Parth, just finish what you were saying now in like 5 seconds.
all right.
Okay.
So what I was saying basically was, only tangible things which could be, have a proper record and, are not, so small, or these things won't be like coming into this information. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, so are we done? Guys, can everyone except the adjudicators mute their mics? Okay, cool. Aman, are you here?
Yep.
I don't think I can hear you, Aman. Buddy?
He's here. Arjun is here. Don't worry.
I can only hear the okay. So we just get like one thing cleared out here, right? This is the finals and this is a closed round. That means we're not going to be giving adjudication live on stream about this round. Afterwards, we can probably discuss it, but we're only going to be discussing the winners. If everyone's here, Dharmesh, Shamita, do you guys wanna take this over? Do you guys want to announce the winners? Come on. Tum log karo, please.
Dharmesh is not here. Wait, let me just work on getting him back.
Where is he?
He's coming back. Give it him.
We'll wait
Okay.
for him, but then
We'll wait.
Arjun, you can go ahead and announce the winner.
No. I want to wait for Dharmesh, please. I want to wait for Dharmesh.
Arey, I said we can wait for him, after which you
No,
could...
I want a beer. I want a beer.
That's exactly what she was saying anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Dharmesh, are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Chalo, Shamita, Dharmesh, we'll do you guys the honors. You guys can announce the winners for TEDx Debatable 1.0. But before
ahead.
they announce it, I'll just tell you guys, thank you so much. Again, I have to emphasize this. We did take our time deliberating, and I think this is the longest time we've taken to deliberate in a while because all our adjudications have been under a minute previously. A hearty congratulations to the participants. You guys did incredibly well. We couldn't have asked for a better debate for the debatable finals. And with that, Dharmesh and Shamita, please take over.
All right, guys. So I'll just quickly add to Arjun. First of all, guys, this is probably the first debating competition Soma DevSoc has kind of administered and taken part. So I think great job. I think all the teams who have participated in the tournament were really good, and we're really happy with how the debate went. And as you all know, we deliberated for quite some time. And we're really proud of how things have happened and how you all have come to the finals and participated. So Shamita, would you like to add anything before we release the results?
I just wanted to quickly congratulate both the teams. Understand that, of course, we had to choose one team, but zeroing that out, I still want to mention both the teams were amazing, and I hope both of you guys, both of the teams, continue debating through this. So yeah, that's it. So Dharmesh and Arjun.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just okay. So after careful consideration and noting all the constructives on both sides of the house, Shamita and myself,
and Arjun,
declare the opposition as the winner of the tournament. Congratulations on the way you all have performed, and we're really happy with the way things went.
Congratulations,
Congratulations, Karina, Garima. You guys can unmute yourself and talk now. Please. This is very awkward silence.
Thank you, everybody, for that.
Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
and a well fought proposition, like really really good fight, like Nilakshi and Parth. Very well done.
Yes, guys, congratulations to you guys too. You are one of the finalists. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care, guys, and keep debating. So if y'all want any individual feedback, we'll take it offline. And whoever's watching, hope you all had a good time. And
just needed, sorry, Dharmesh, I just needed people to know that currently the stream is being spammed with PPDP. So just letting everyone know, whoever knows what PPDP is, great. Whoever doesn't, PPDP, PPDP. Have fun, guys. Dharmesh, carry on.
yeah, just final words. I hope whoever's watching, I hope you all had a good time, and we hope you all stay tuned with Somaya Depsok as well as TEDx Somaya Vidyavir. So all the best and good night.
Great. So this marks the end of TEDx Debatable. Thanks for everyone who's watching. Thanks for our participants for being such amazing participants. And I guess we'll see you later. So yeah.
So I think I just need to point out that the Somaya Debating Society will be holding now sessions for the newcomers, for people who want to learn debating. So stay around on the Discord server, hang out, see what you can learn. We'll also be putting it in our main group, the Somaya Debating Society WhatsApp group. If you haven't joined the WhatsApp group, please contact one of the moderators. They will get you in touch with the WhatsApp group. Stay on the Discord server. All updates will come on the Discord server itself. We hope to see you again soon. Any questions, any feedback, please give it to us. Rudra, if the live is over, can we just take Rudra, live is over? Rudra. Perfect. Guys, please open your mic.